Hello, friends. How are you? Good morning. How are you this morning? My name is Esther Kuganja Adedoyin. As usual, we come here on this platform every Saturday at 7. I apologize for coming late. 3 minutes now. So we come just to spend some time to be with you. So today is an important topic. We are continuing the series of discovering yourself. And this is part 3. Last week it was my husband Sammy who was discussing with a friend. We had a guest called Paul, and he was sharing with us how he discovered himself. June, a friend of mine, and we are back to continue this topic. And today we are going to focus on who am I, asking that simple question. Who am I? Simple, but it involves a lot. Welcome, June. There she is.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, your light is so good. Yeah.
Thank you.
That is good. We've succeeded in that. Praise God. So, can you please greet our friends, our viewers?
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Others, I'm sure they've just woken up, so good night. But it's a pleasure again to be here to share our experiences, and I trust that today it's going to be more interesting because we are going to be talking about ourselves. And that's a very interesting topic because we get to know who we are, and hope to make every second in life, be meaningful. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, the topic we are focusing on is actually understanding who we are. So, we are going to ask different questions to just sort of like evaluate yourself, look at yourself in the mirror, try to point a few things. So, I hope our friends have come with a notebook and a pen. Jimmy, thanks for joining us. Muzakiru, how are you? Where are you coming from? Watching us from? Hi Kabosco, how are you? Patrick O'Shane, how are you? Hello Wycliffe, Brother Wycliffe, hi. Davis Ntege, you're welcome. And Mami Salongo, thank you for joining us. Okay, so let's start this topic, So when you look around you see different people, okay? Everyone is going through different stages in life. And then when you look at what they are doing, what they're accomplishing, you just wonder to yourself, oh, where is my place in this world? Others are aspiring to be presidents. Others are mothers. Others are getting married. Others are farmers. Others are in the army. Everyone is doing one thing or the other. Where do you fit? So that's it. We're going to be focusing on that topic. So it's very important, to look around and see, like, for example, when you go to school, when you graduate, how do you fit in? And whatever you chose to do, are you feeling happy with your life? Are you fulfilled in that? So we're just going to help you understand who you are. So understanding ourselves is the first step, actually, to discovering ourselves. Once we understand ourselves, then we can develop ourselves. Yeah, so we can't go do the developing without understanding where we are at the moment. Okay? So, June, do you have anything to say with the topic?
Yes. When I heard that we will be talking about who am I, it really, really made me so, glad because I feel that it's a very, very important topic for people to know about themselves because you know, if we really don't know who we are, it's really hard to find ourselves the right place to fit in, especially in this busy society. So I actually realized that, you know, to some, it will be a challenge, you know, after this broadcast, probably we will have to take time to reflect as to where which stage am I in life? And, you know, there are those who will actually be finding, you know, today who they are. Others who have already found who they are, it will be another process of rediscovering because the process of discovering yourself does not come to an end. Every day you discover new things about you, you discover new opportunities. And but those who are yet to do so, that will be a very good starting point. But you know, one thing which made me, you know, the main thing which came up in my mind when we are talking about this, I just say, let us remind ourselves, like in this world, generally, it was said that there are three categories of people. And it's very important we really know where do we fall into, which category do we fall into. They say
Yeah.
that the first category is of the people who are unaware of what is happening. Everything they hear is like, really? Oh, what is that about? You know, so everything comes as a surprise. So you find when people I eh?
Like news, the news on the tele.
Yeah, even things which are going around when their children go to school, they might not know what happens, and then when they come and say, they say, oh, is that what is happening? You know, so it's like almost everything comes as a surprise to them. It's like somebody just gets up and you have 24 hours ahead of you, and then you just leave you know, by the second. But there is another category which I think many of us fall into, that are those who ask, what has just happened? You know, at least they know that there is something which is going on. So
Yeah.
they are curious to know. And I think
Mm.
many of us fall into that category, you know. So you'll find, especially, you know, somebody made a very interesting comment and say, many people who are employed by others are actually those who have fallen into that category. Okay, you know, there is an opportunity out there, you go and explore, you know there is something that is happening, you want to be part. But there is another category of people, these are the ones who make things happen, you know. So these are few, but they actually control the environment where you are. So you know, it's important for you to really know, are you the one who does not know what is happening around, or are you the one who have just heard of the things which have happened, or are you one of those who make things happen? You can make things happen in a global scale, you can make things happen in a community scale. It doesn't to be mega, but it is better for us to fall into the category of those who make things happen, because
Happen.
then you have a cause to live for. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Wow, that's a good introduction, really. So I'm just briefly, I'm just going to welcome our friends viewing us. We have Nikki. How are you, Nikki? Then we have Reagan, Moses, Fred, Joe. You're welcome. Thank you for joining us. Where are the ladies? Most of the ladies are not here. We are getting only men, and it doesn't matter. Okay, so to start our topic today, discovering yourself. Who am I? I think it's really important that the first question you have to ask yourself, and this is where we ask you to note down these questions, because there'll be like points of reflection after this broadcast, and whenever you have time, just go through it and try to answer those questions. There'll be like guiding points. So the first one is really to identify your unique beliefs and values. What do you believe? What are those things that you hold so dear in your heart? For example, when you look in your community, do you believe in, if you're a father, do you just believe that being a father is just going to work and not having time for your children? That's a belief. Do you believe that you leave all the expenses to your wife? That's a belief. What are your beliefs? What are your beliefs and values? Write that question down and start noting them down. If you're free, you can share with us. Hello, Solomon and Rachel. Thanks for joining us. And Geoffrey, thank you for joining us. So, what are your beliefs? Okay. Do you believe that, what can I say now? For example, the religious beliefs that we all have, the religious background that we all have. If I'm to ask you a question, why you are in that belief, why are you a Christian? Why are you a Muslim? Why are you an atheist? Okay. Probably the majority of people will say, it's because my parents are. But when you want to understand yourself, you have to first question your beliefs, understand your beliefs, identify them. Why are you a Christian? Why are you a Muslim? I think the best way of knowing the right answer, you shouldn't say that's because I inherited it from my parents. You should say that because of my personal conviction. That is why I believe in this and this. Okay? That's an example. All right. Another example could be, for example, women. What do you believe is the definition of beauty? Okay? What is the definition of beauty to you, ladies? Is it someone who's light-skinned or dark-skinned? Is it someone who wears tight and short, revealing clothes, to show your figure? Or is it someone with long hair, short hair? What's your definition of beauty? These are things to know, to identify what you really believe in. Okay. For you can say, yeah, I'm beautiful when I wear makeup, I'm beautiful when I have long hair. Another person will say, I think I believe in beauty to be inner, the values I've put in myself, how I've developed myself to be a personality. That could be a definition. So write down your beliefs, identify your beliefs and values. Okay. June, do you have any other values examples you can think of?
Yeah. When it
Honest.
comes to, yeah, when it comes to values, okay,
Yeah.
those are very, very important because those are kind of things which differentiate and identify you as an individual.
Yeah.
There are some things when somebody calls a name, when they say Esther, straight away something comes into people's mind. Esther, organized. Esther, timekeeper. Esther, truthful, loyal. So those are the kind of things you need to identify yourself, because
Yeah.
those are the things that make you. At
Yes.
times, even when people want to know you, when you say, oh, do you know June? And somebody will be thinking, oh, June. So they will start calling out your values. They will start calling your beliefs. And they say, oh, yeah, I know her. Yeah, I know her, or I know him. So those are the kind of things you as an individual, you really need to know. What do I believe? What are my values? When somebody wants to give you an assignment, do you know there are some people who will consider your values before they can give you an assignment, because they know for sure, if I give this person this kind of task because of who you are, then they will be able to accomplish it. But there will be others who will, people with negative values. Oh, they are always late. They are always, so it is better you start to identify what are your values, and you can
Yeah.
start seeing those by how people talk about you or yourself. You can get them, not whether they are positive or negative, so that you will know how to work them. So
For
please
yourself.
be taking time to note those that point. Identify your unique beliefs and values. Yeah.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right, June.
Um, I think another question when we want to discover ourselves, the
Yeah.
next question which we are requesting you to start pondering is identify your strengths. What are
Mm.
you good at? You know, what is that something which you are naturally drawn at? You don't even need 3 seconds to think about. When it just opportunity arises, you just do it. You just do
Mm.
it without struggle. Those are the kind of things you really need to note down. There are some people, when they just get into a place, it doesn't matter when they know whether they know somebody or they don't know somebody, they will just
Mm.
want to see everything organized. You don't need to ask them. The moment they show up, if it's in a function, live practical examples. You go into a function, you've been invited, you have an invited guest card. You get there,
Yes.
you realize, oh, the place is not ready, set up. Quickly, they jump in. Such a person, actually, whether consciously or unconsciously, they have a gift of organization. They like to
Mm.
see things in order. So those are
Mm.
their strengths. There are some
Mm.
people, when they just get anywhere, straight away they dive in working with children. They don't need to
Mm.
be asked. They are very good with children. You can find a teacher teaching young people, and the whole class is in chaos, and the person will, but somebody will just walk there in 5 minutes. All the children are attentive, the children are cooperating. So those are the kind of things you really need to start identifying about
Mm.
yourself. What is
Mm.
it that you are good at? What are your strengths? And your strength can be seen in activities which you are naturally drawn towards, and you
Mm.
excel and you feel good about. So whether somebody will pay you or they will not pay you, you will still do it because it
Yes.
gives you
That's
it gives
right.
you joy. Yeah, you
Mm.
flow naturally. You don't need
Yeah.
somebody to push you. So note
Yeah.
down those kind of things about
Mm.
yourself, and
Yeah.
take a minute and put those things down, because they will really, really help.
Yeah. And once you've identified your strength, that is the foundation. Because it's those strengths that you're going to use to really pronounce your personality and build yourself up.
Mm,
Okay. So, and it helps you to also improve your self-confidence.
mm,
Once you know what you're good at, then you're not looking at someone else and wishing you were like them. No, you stay in your own quarter, and just be proud of what you have and just use it. And that's how people, all great men and women in this world, in our generation and even before us, that's how people became great, because they
mm.
identified their strength and they concentrated and channeled all their energy in your strength.
Yeah.
So it's very key.
Mm.
Okay.
You
How
know,
to,
um,
sorry. Okay.
I am reminded of a hedgehog. A hedgehog. That
Oh,
eh,
that small.
yeah, that animal with spikes. That is the
Eh,
only thing which it knows. I remember when we used to when we were young, we used to have some, and we will go and want to poke it. When you want to
mm,
poke it, the only thing, it turns itself into a round shape and it puts its spikes out.
to protect
It might
itself.
not, yeah, it does not know how to fly. It does not
Mm,
know how to walk very fast. It cannot, maybe its size, it's big, it cannot get into a little hole. But one thing it knows, it's using its spikes to protect itself, and it focus on that. So you can
mm,
have an eagle flying, you can have I don't know, a hyena coming to attack it. The only thing it knows, bring out my spikes and I am safe. So I really think it's really important. Focus on that which you are able to do. And thank you. I can
mm.
see some friends watching from Tanzania. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Ndukai. I can see Nikki Ellis, my neighbor. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Mm,
I'm still typing, so
uh,
I'm I'm typing the comments. So that is so important, friends. The next point, point 3 of how we can discover ourselves. Who am I? I hope you're noting down these questions, please. And if you want, feel free to share with us your strength, what you're good at. Okay, it will help us identify where you are. Okay. Okay, so another point of how we can discover ourselves, discovering who we are, is identify your vulnerabilities, your weaknesses, your insecurities, and then begin to work on them. This is so key. As you have to balance the equation here. You know, the point June was mentioning is identify your strength. That is so good, okay? But we all have weaknesses as well. You know, it's what makes us human, yeah. But sometimes it's those weaknesses that limit us in becoming the maximum we're supposed to be. So because you were born in a quiet environment, okay, it doesn't mean that you always be quiet and that's how I was born, I'm quiet. No. Situations come around whereby you have to approach someone, be talkative, let people see your wisdom and your points. That is a discovering who you are and to bring out your gifts to the world. So we all have areas of improvement, all of us. When you identify those weaknesses, for example, weaknesses, and it could be like, are you a person who gets angry quickly? Okay. Then say, what triggers my anger? Is it because I'm relating it to someone, something that someone said? Because let me tell you, people who get angry quickly can lose many friends. And some of the friends you may lose may be helpers that you may need in the future. So you see, like, weakness, all our weaknesses sort of like can be a drawback, a setback on our lives if we don't work on it. So when you identify that, oh, I'm always angry about this, what triggers? When you think back the history of that, what triggers it? Why am I like this? Shouldn't I have waited and got the facts first? Shouldn't I have given a benefit of a doubt? So when you take time to analyze yourself like that, the next time you are relating with someone, you're much better, you're more conscious. And that's how you become better. Guess what? Relationships will be richer, they will last longer, and the people you may need to be connecting with to help you may actually really, notice that you actually know a person who, you are someone who is good to be with. So that's how doors open to you. So you see, when you identify your weakness is key, because we all need somebody to help us reach that place we want to reach in life. Okay. So someone has written up. Can you read it out for me, June?
Yes,
Nyangusi?
Nyangusi Ndokai, he's watching actually from Tanzania. He says, I have always been asked in interviews about my weaknesses, and this has always become, a tough question. I have failed to get this, What do you have to say, Esther, on that one?
Yeah. So I think the reason why they ask that question in interviews is because they want to understand, do you really know yourself? Because not say, oh, I'm perfect, I don't have weaknesses, so give me the job. No. They want to employ someone who has a balanced view of themselves. Yes, I admit I have this weakness, I'm a latecomer, but when you're giving that weakness, you have to bring a solution as well at the interview. I usually don't keep time, but I'm learning that. So I've bought a smartphone with a time in alarm system, to wake me up, to remind me that I have to be on time. I've put a system in place to help me that. When you give a problem and a solution, the employer will say, yes. In this organization, we are looking for problem solvers. People who can identify problems and bring solutions. People who know their weakness and know how to develop and they're working on themselves. So you get a plus for that. Yes.
Yeah.
June, do you have?
In fact, there are some places, if you go to an interview and they ask you for a weakness and you don't give, straight away you are discredited. And as Esther is saying, when you're asked such a question, look for practical examples. It doesn't have to be something even related to the job you are doing. You
Yeah.
might even give examples of, maybe, one of the weakness and challenges I'm facing is I really don't have time with my children. And then the employer straight away start to think even by themselves, like, okay, so at times maybe there are some employers who, take a lot of time, and maybe there is too much workload and somebody wants to finish. They can now start to understand the other side of you, and they can also put measures in place to help you. So I used to
Yeah.
think, oh, if somebody asked me about my weakness and I start saying, how weak I am, I thought, oh, I might lose, people might see that I'm not good enough. But actually, it's a big bonus when you make people know that you are also struggling about this. You can tell people, I struggle with financial management, and because
Mm-hmm.
of that, I have allowed my wife to help me, in this area. Straight away, you are talking about the principle of delegation. So even the employer now sees, okay, even though you are struggling in this area, you have already realized there is somebody who has more potential in that, and you are giving them. So
Yes.
actually, when you are talking about your weaknesses and you are saying how you are trying to overcome them, it's a great bonus, even more than the certificates which you have for that role, because they are looking for somebody who is more practical to face day-to-day life issues.
Mm.
Mm.
When you get that example of financial management, you can even say, I have this ignorance, but I'm doing a course right now.
Yeah.
I'm attending a course in the evenings to do what? So, yeah, I like the way. So I'm sure you've gotten some examples. Our brother from Tanzania.
Yeah.
Hello, Manuel. Thanks for joining us. Okay, so I was just talking about identifying our vulnerabilities and our insecurities. So it's important at this time to really be honest with yourself. Don't always put all the plus, plus, plus. Oh, I'm okay, I'm okay. What? Look deep down there. There are some things there. Okay, so it requires us to be honest with ourselves. What are those things that trigger your anger, that trigger, you're jealous about someone else? What are those things that, trigger your ego, that pride, that anger, that hatred? What is that is causing you to lack confidence in yourself? Note those things down. And then maybe in the next session, we'll also talk about how to develop yourself. And maybe you'll learn how to use those weaknesses to turn into positives. Because a minus, you just need one stroke to make it plus. Okay?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
our weaknesses, our insecurities are actually assets. All right. Okay, June, how
Yeah.
else can we develop ourselves?
Okay. Another point which I would like us to write down is, discover yourself by identifying what concerns you the most. By this, think about yourself. Like, say, if you had an opportunity and resources given to you just like this, think of what are you going to, straight away, without thinking, without taking any second, you are going to address, not about yourself necessarily, but out there.
Yes.
This is where you will start to know yourself. I There are some people, if you ask them what concerns them the most, they will tell you, I really don't like seeing, children who are supposed to be in school and they are in the streets, you know.
Mm,
And
yeah.
every time they see one child in the street, it's like their heart pains. It's like they feel
Mm,
a heartache. And there are
yes.
others. It's not even just about children. There are others. They really don't like to see, uh, young couples, for example, people who have just gotten married, enter into marriage without guidance. So they will think, if you ask them, they say, oh, me, I really feel like our young people are entering into marriage before adequate preparation and what and what. And every time that is the only thing they will be talking about. So they say, if I had time and resources and money and what, the first thing I will do is to quickly maybe organize sessions and seminars to people who are aspiring to get married. That is what concerns them. There are
Yeah.
others who it will not be, it will not be that. There are others who maybe it's the environment. They are so concerned about the global warming. When they
Very
sleep,
good.
their mind is going through global warming. What can I do? And they start to thinking, as little as I am as an individual, there is nothing I can do. But the pain, the heart, the concern is still there. So write
Yeah.
down those kind of things, because those are what identifies you. There are some people, when you just call their name, they say, that one who loves children. You know,
Oh.
yeah. There are others who said, I actually have a friend who lives in Kenya.
Yeah.
They normally, when you mention her name, the first thing that comes into people's minds is, oh, that lady who loves old people. Everywhere she lives, she just looks for, in her neighborhood, she looks for old people who are lonely, and she goes and visits them. She started that when she used to be here in the UK. She went to Tanzania. So when she goes back to Tanzania, she has friends she has to go and visit. And you will see that those friends, they are not young friends. They are mature people. So that is her concern, that these are the things that need to be identified, to be addressed. So write down those things. What are the things that concerns you the most? It is like, if you had an opportunity and resources, straight away, without thinking twice, you will
Mm.
attempt to address those kind of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what eats you up when you look at the environment around you? What do you want to see change? So those are the kind of things which identify you, and makes you, when you see that fulfillment, like that change happening in the inside of you, there is joy. So note down those kind of things. Like
Yeah.
me, if you ask me what really concerns me is to see young people not being guided to make rightful choices. I see, like, young people are just thrown into a deep end without being taught to swim. And
Mm.
I'm thinking something needs really to be done about it. So
Mm.
it's a concern, and maybe in my own little way, I am starting to addressing that, and I hope other people will also identify their own areas. So note
Yeah.
down what concerns you the most.
Okay. Thank you, June. That was excellent. So another way we can discover ourselves, the questions we can ask to help us identify who we are is, what are those things? Or identify those things that make you feel stressed as an individual, and then deal with them. Because we run through life and we say, whatever I be, what is that song? Whatever will be,
Yeah.
No, things don't just have to be to just be. No, you have to step back and identify those things.
Mm.
Write them, because in writing them down, then it will be easier for you to assess yourself, evaluate, and then form a plan to help you eliminate those things. For example, things that make us stressed. One of them, for me, especially me, I used to be so committed to so many things. For example, you attend a church, you are in this committee, you are in that committee. Before you know it, in 1 week, you have like 4 meetings. Then you have this other meeting after outside church, you are attending someone's needs, you're helping this one. It's like you're thinking about everyone else, but not you. That used to stress me. I'm telling you, you come back home, you don't want to see another human being. because you're drained. You are drained. I mean, you are. Another stressing thing is work. You work 20 around the clock, you come back home, you don't feel yourself anymore. Even the money loses value before you. Those things used to make me stressed. Another thing could be financial struggles. Write them down. Because when you have things like that, it's an indicator that there's a lack of knowledge or some research you have to do. Because for us to discover ourselves, we have to be our best. We have to be in our best, what can I call it? Best condition in order to deliver that which is good. And these things that are limiting us, that are not making us to be ourselves. And when you're stressed, it's like you get irritable quickly. Everything else you just answer anyhow. It's affecting you. It affects your relationship. It affects the way you cooperate. You're not effective in the way maybe if you're writing, you make mistakes. Why? You're stressed. Your body needs a balance. Your emotional life, your physical, your spiritual, you are all around big. You're a very complex person. We are complex. So if we don't learn to balance ourselves, we'll become ill. And when you become ill, then the question of who are you cannot be easily answered, because why? You're limited. So those areas that make you stressed needs to be identified, noted down, and then a plan put in place to eliminate them. And that's what we're going to discuss next week. I mean, the next broadcast with June, developing yourself. So that's part of the development. Okay. So it could be financial issues, health issues, pleasing everyone and not forgetting about yourself, having so many commitments, even poor management. You let everywhere, people lose trust in you, and that impacts in you. It sort of stresses you as well. So remember who you are. You have to be at your best in order to enjoy your life. Okay? So we need to work this. We shall be sharing with you how to eliminate these, the things that make us stressed. Okay?
Yeah.
June, anything you wanted to share? Or
Yeah. I'm on that thing of what stresses you up, and the main thing which comes to me also is like sometimes workload, as you are talking about, and I'm looking at it especially to people who work, and then maybe you have to drive a long way to get to work, and then when you
yes.
get there, if you have you have always your workload is too much, then there is stress is going to arise there. So you need to identify, okay, one of the stresses, in me is a workload. Then identify what causes this workload. It can be maybe poor management, time management skills, or because, as Esther is saying, you have taken too many things at the same time. Could it be that there is an element of lack of delegation? Could it
Yes.
be perfection to the extent that you take a long time to go through things and then things start piling up? But you see, the consequence of this is not just left at the office. If you're not careful, you carry it home. And that is how some people, you see, they leave the work. I don't know, here in UK, people finish work at 5. In my country, like government people finish work at 3:30 or 4. They carry folders to go with them home. That one is an indication of stress caused by workload. Because once you get home, your children and your family, all of a sudden, they will start becoming irritant. Because you have come with folders. They know daddy has come home. Your wife is saying mommy has come home, or daddy has come home, my husband has come home, or your husband is saying my wife is home. The children are saying mommy is back. But actually, you have come with work. Work
So
needs
you're
to be, yeah. So before you realize, you will be stressed at work, you will be stressed at home, because at home, what they are expecting, they are not getting. And before you realize that you are not only stressing yourself, you are stressing others. Your
so
children,
it's,
your wife, or your spouse will want your attention. They can't get it. So
Yeah.
try to look it, even on the consequences and outcomes of it, because it will start to help you to know the areas that you need to, work on. Because I think at times we think, oh, if I start identifying what stresses me, I will be declaring defeat over myself. You better take time out, put everything on hold at first, and do a thorough check of yourself, so that when it comes to work, you work without stress. You leave work
Yeah.
there. When you get home, you become the husband, you become the wife, you become the parent who is
Yeah.
supposed to be. Or if you're still living with your parents, you become the child, the daughter, the son, the brother, the sister, not the manager, you know. And so that is how sometimes it can be very, very, stressful, and cause more, havoc, even in homes and families. And people who live by themselves, actually, this is more dangerous to people who live by themselves, because we tend to think, oh, since I don't have anyone in my house, I can carry my folders back home. Don't do that, because you will be stressed at work, you'll be stressed at home, and the sad thing is that you don't have somebody to talk to. So the stress builds up more. So identify those areas. Especially, thank you, Esther, for bringing this point of identifying what stresses you, because it is a major hindrance, especially in relationships. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay,
Um,
June, how can we discover ourselves?
Another point which I want you to, I want us to note down is discover yourself by identifying the category you are attracted to help. Life is very, very interesting. And, I marvel at, creation. There are some people who the only category they want to focus on is the environment. When you talk about environment, their heart leaps. There are some people, they want it's about leaders. When you talk about government leaders, that is where their heart is. They see all the wrong things and the right things that need to be done in the element of leadership. There are others. It's not even about human beings. There are others. When you talk about animals, you have touched their heart. When you talk about, here in the UK, there is an organization called RSPC, RSPCA, which deals with animals. You see those animal vets, how they look after them. And for others, it is not something very, it doesn't move them. But that is what makes life interesting, because if all of us were just interested in politics, then the world could have been the most boring place. There are others,
Exactly.
yeah, there are others. When you talk about footballers, that is what they want to, those are the people they are attracted to. Those are the people they are attracted to help. That is why there are some people who say, me, I want to train young people to become the best footballers, to become, the best athletes. There are others, they just think of fashion, not even football, not even animals, not politics, fashion.
Yeah.
So they want to do everything to help the fashion designers out there. They want to become, the best. So look at around, and see, who are you attracted most to, to help. It can be, others. It can be in religious leaders, whether it's where, there are some people, they will spend anything to their leaders of religion. There are others, politicians. There are others, they are more interested in the media. Talk about social media. They know how to use all the gadgets. They when they look at the TV, they've already spotted something which could have been done best, and what. So discover yourself by identifying the category you are attracted to help. It doesn't have a, and I like making people understand that what is a concern to you, the category you are attracted to, might not be the category the other person is interested in. So don't blame people when they don't see things the way you see. You know,
Yeah.
sometimes, you know, when we walk in the town, you know, and I see young people or children in the streets, my heart goes out for them. But I might be walking with somebody who, even though they see them, that is not their concern at that particular
Yeah.
moment. They are
Mm,
concerned by single women, you know,
mm,
single women raising children. That is the
mm,
category they are very much attracted. But to
mm,
somebody else, it is different. So let us, that is where we learn to appreciate our differences. That is when we learn to appreciate our uniqueness. Because
mm,
when everyone discover where they are, there is no strife. When
mm.
everyone discover the category they are attracted to, there is no cause for envy and jealousy, because
Exactly.
you are in your right category and the other one also is in their right category and they are doing what they ought to be doing. So it really, really, really helps. And you know, so when you ponder on this question, like which category are you attracted to help, as I made the introduction earlier, think about the category of people who make things happen. So at that time, you are starting to consider yourself as a person who wants to see a change in a
Mm,
category sphere of influence, in a
mm,
category sphere of life. So
mm,
it will be probably you want to see change in the government influence, your sphere of
mm,
influence. You, another one might want to see change in the aspect of finances. Another one might want to see change in the families, you know, and the family can even be broken down, you know, single parents. You know, we only talk about single mothers. There are single fathers out there. And there is
yeah.
somebody out there who really wishes to see that even these single parents are acknowledged and are given their rightful support. Because we tend
Mm,
to just think, oh, men can do everything. There are men out there who really also need help. And there is somebody who is attracted to those. So discover yourself by really identifying what category of life, what sphere of influence of life do you want to see change, and
mm,
focus yourself in that. Make yourself the best. Do what you need to do, and you will see the results. If everyone does the bit that they ought to do, the world
yeah.
becomes a very interesting place to live.
Yeah. You know, as you're describing that, I remembered someone who has a YouTube channel. What's her name? I've forgotten. It's a complicated name, but she is interested in cooking.
Mm.
You know, I used to think, "Ah, of all things, why food? You know, but then after watching some of her videos, I realized that, you know, she's helping people live healthily by having alternative meal. You know, for example, in Africa, people who are used to eating a lot of carbohydrates, starchy foods, she has options of how you can eat a physically similar looking thing, but it's actually made of vegetables. For example, a vegetable version of pounded yam. You know, and I've learned a lot of dishes from her. I think she's so creative. She can get anything and turn it into a dish. So what is she doing? She's helping people live healthily. She's making the world interesting by having different variety of dishes. You know, as June was saying, the world becomes boring if we are all doing the same thing. We all know the same thing. So even things like cooking that look so irrelevant, they are part of discovering ourselves. They are part of fulfilling purpose. They are part of, you know, us making the world a better place. Anyway, let's move on, June. Can you
Yeah.
read the comment there, June?
Um, uh, Nyangusi says, I have experience of a friend who liked to
Mm,
deceive or lie on himself. For example, there is something he liked to achieve. Um, for example, there is something he liked to achieve. Say it's a promotion, it's a promoting, but you find him saying, I am not interested to this position, while the truth is the opposite. Yeah, so it is really good to be true to yourself, and even make, you know, me, I where I work, they know that when it's time for me to get to the next level, I make it known so that even when an opportunity arises, it comes. Even when I am speaking to my manager, I make her know that I am really not satisfied with the level which I am, and I would like to take more responsibility and move to another level. You put her in the loop so that even when an opportunity arises, she will be quick to point it to you. But when you know that you want something and you're not making it known, you are actually blocking your own opportunities. Yeah. So
Because the people who would have supported him in that promotion will not support him because he's saying he's not interested.
yeah.
So I think there's an area of insecurity that he has. He thinks that once he admits to everyone, then he will not pass through, or everyone will take his position. So that is the area we're talking about. When you don't know who you are, you feel insecure. You think someone else will take your place. This world is so big. We all have a stage. Let me tell you. The world is big that all of us, how many are we, June? 16 billion?
Yeah.
We
So
all
billion.
take. And no one can take it. Okay? So that is also another area to develop yourself. Be secure. Share with people. Whatever belongs to you will always come to you. That's what I believe. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah.
So, June, we are going to number 7. How
Yeah.
can we help? How can we discover ourselves? Okay? So, we can discover ourselves by identifying the people that truly matter to us. If your husband, then the people who truly matter to you first is your spouse, your wife. If your father, then the people who truly matter to you should be your wife, your children. Sometimes we have our misplaced priorities, June. I know some people who their friends come number 1, then work, then the wife is at the bottom, number 10. She's the person you wake up with, the same home, the same bed, the person who cooks your food. Misplaced priorities. Because when we have the right people in us, surrounding ourselves with the people that truly matter, and that is surrounding yourself with those that love you, those that encourage you, with those that inspire you, guess what? You get morale. Your morale is boosted. You get self-confidence. You are in the right environment to grow and blossom. You test it. Put anything in any acidic condition, it will die and fade away and dry. If they did an experiment, June, a runner, okay, was given different messages on the iPad. So she was running, and this message was saying, "Oh, you are fool. You are ugly. You can't make it. You will never do anything in life." All those negative things, and she was running. Before you know it, she slowed down. While these things were saying in her mind, she slowed down. She reached a point she didn't finish the rest because it overwhelmed her, the negativity. And they did another experiment after some months. This time they gave her an audio with positivity. Wow, look how beautiful you are. There's no one like you. You are so great. You can do it. Do you know what? She doubled that race. And then she was flying. She didn't even know she'd be any faster. But that energy, it just came from those words. That environment empowered her to where she needs to be. That's the same principle with identifying the people that truly matter to you. They could be teachers, mentors, even friends, but only those people that add value to you. You don't pick any friend anyhow. You have to pick friends intentionally. Yet, what does this person have that I don't have? I need them in my life. What does this person have that I don't have? I need them. So we have to be selective in the friends we choose. And also have different varieties of sharing, because every friend comes with a different packaging, a different gift.
Yeah.
So you may need something from this one. She may not have something that you need in the other. So you have to get another person. And that's how you become complete. Because why? You're feeding. And you yourself, you're being an asset to them. So it's like a circle of, what do they call it? Circle of life, circle of friend. I don't know the phrase they usually use.
Yeah.
Okay. That is really key. Picking the right people. And
Yeah.
also, someone say that you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. If you're spending time with robbers and murderers, guess what? You become one. If you spend time with people who are idle, not working, guess what? You become poor. Because what? That's the company you have. So pick people intentionally. And I know June has something to say with this. So June?
Yeah. That point where you read that quote which says you are a sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with, and I'm looking at it, who do you spend time with? As you are saying, do you spend time with people who are there to challenge every idea you have? They don't see any good in it. They
Mm,
discourage it. And then you keep on going there. You keep on. So it's like you will reach a point you'll be dreading even to get there, because you're thinking, oh, if I get there,
they-
or you get there, you don't say anything. You have your ideas, you keep them to yourself, because you think once I say them, they will crush them. But I am asking myself, if that is the kind of environment you are, why do you still need to be there? Because you either
Mm,
influence them or they influence you. So
yeah.
it is really important for you to identify the people who truly matters to you. What value do they add into your life? We are not
Mhm.
saying that you should just be around people who you will learn. Of course, there are some people who you will be around them because you have something to offer to them. So you
Yes.
need to know what is the purpose of you being around there. If you are there and you are offering something that is impactful into the lives of these people, well and good. But if you are around people, and once you come out of that place, your heart is down because of all the negative things they said concerning your vision or what, then probably rethink twice if you really need to, if those people really matter to you, because people who matter to you will always add value in your life
Mm,
by either
mm,
bringing new knowledge to you, or
mm,
giving you constructive criticism, correcting you when you have gone wrong, and
yes.
being there to guide you. But
Mm,
also, they might be people who are giving you an opportunity to transform their lives, because
mm,
it makes you become better. You discover
mm,
more of yourself when you are in such an environment. But if you are in a place where you are not positively influenced, and you yourself, you're not influencing, then probably such an environment of people do not really matter to you. And
yeah.
you should consider twice to be there. you know
Mm.
yeah.
All right. Yes.
um,
How else can we discover ourselves?
um I always say, oh, I can see somebody watching from Botswana. Wairimu, thank you so much. I've seen Jessica, I don't know if you're in Tanzania or you're in Ethiopia. Thank you so
Mm.
much for joining us.
And
um
also, there's Jacob and Andrew. Thank you for joining us.
wow.
Yeah.
There is another way of discovering yourself. Ask yourself the following questions, which, as we said, please note them down because we will ponder them even later. Ask yourself, what do you want to be remembered for?
Mm.
What do you want to be remembered for? I remember one of my of a lady. We were together. She comes from, she's from Africa, but we live here together in the UK. She said, where back home they used to live with this neighbor. And back home, when somebody dies, they leave the eulogy and they will be talking nice, good things about the person. But they say this
Yeah.
man, if it was abusing family, he was the one terrorizing everyone in the village, to the extent that the day when he died, he said even the pastor who was doing the ceremony could hardly speak something good. So they kept on saying, you know the man, you know him now. There is nothing they could say about the person, because you don't want to speak negative about somebody when they have died. But the only thing which people could remember that man for was how he beat his wife, how he neglected his children, how he would terrorize everyone. Is that what we really want to be remembered for? I don't think so. So write down, what is it that you want to be remembered for? I remember I went for a training, history makers training in Ukraine in 2010. And Pastor Sunday literally asked us to write our own eulogy. Huh? In the first time I thought, what is wrong with this man? But it made us, because we wrote the eulogy before, by the time we finished the training, the eulogy changed. And it put, it made me to think about my life. You know, when we look like a person like Steve Jobs, when you mention Apple, everyone knows Steve Jobs, you know, like that. He wanted to be remembered as a technical guru, you know, the technology somebody. When you think about Martin Luther King Jr., he wanted to be remembered as an activist of, you know, justice and those kind of things. Look, somebody like Mahatma Gandhi, peaceful, you know, somebody who wanted independence and liberation through peace, you know, non-violence. When you talk of Mahatma Gandhi, you are remembering him as a person who did not like violence and those kind of things. So ask yourself, what do you want to be remembered for? Please don't allow people not to find words to talk about you. Me, I always tell people, please tell me the good things while I'm still alive, but also it is about the legacy you leave behind. You don't want to go with yourself. Leave something behind for other people to continue. Life is like a relay. It's like a continuous relay. You run your race, you pass on the baton. So what are you going to be passing on to others? That is what you want to be remembered for. And ask yourself another question. Looking back in my life, what is that thing I can never regret? What is it that I can never regret? Me, if you ask me right now, I will never regret going to Ukraine to the History Makers training. It was not an easy task to go there, because you know you have to pay for your flight ticket, you have to pay for your accommodation, you have to take leave. People take annual leave to go and enjoy and relax. I took annual leave to go and learn, and it still costed me money. Some people even, in fact, were even thinking, you really spend all that money to go there just to sit and learn. But you know what? I have no regrets, because what I am even doing right now, it is an outcome of that experience which I had then. It made me have a new perspective in life. So ask yourself, what is it that you don't have, you have got no regrets? And if you have something you are regretting about, immediately start identifying issues of how to rectify it. But ask yourself another question. What makes me stand out? What makes me stand out? What is your uniqueness? The Mahatma Gandhi said, he who loses his individuality loses all. If you do not, if you lose your individuality, then you have lost everything. You have got nothing. So ask yourself, what makes you stand out? I always tell people I like some sports athletes. You know, I look at Serena Williams. Oh my goodness, she when you just call Serena Williams, tennis comes into your, you know, into people's mind. That is what she decided to concentrate on, that one, and become the best she can be in that one. When you talk of Nelson Mandela, leadership, you know, forgiveness, you know, integrity, you know, those kind of things. When there are many people, what make you stand out? Identify that thing and concentrate on improving on that, because it will make you the best person you can be. Once you identify what makes you stand out, you have no competition with anyone, because They are standing out on their own. You are standing out on your own platform. As Esther said earlier, even though we are over 6 billion people on planet, I can assure you, for every individual in this earth, they have their own stage with no one on it. So
Yes.
don't go and join on somebody else's stage. Be on your stage and dance, utilize all the space you have there and stand
Yes.
out, because that
Yes.
is what makes this world a very interesting place to be.
Yeah.
So that is what I would ask her, ask to ask yourself those questions. And as we have been saying, please, these questions, we're encouraging you to write them down. Write them down so that
Yeah.
even when we have finished today, you will take time to think about them. You will take time to think about them and then come up with some good answers. It's never late. Whether you are 20, you are 15, you are 40, you are 69, it is never too late to become the best who you were created to be. Over to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I like the way you say that it's never too late, you know, because sometimes when you reach 60, you say, now, what's left for me to do now? I'm almost going. But even at 60, because even 60, 70, 100, you have a lot of experience and wisdom, things that you've learned, the mistakes you did. Why don't you write them down and share with young people? Call young people, let them sit around you, say, what, I made this mistake, I learned from it, don't repeat it. Guess what? You are helping many people not to go through pain.
Mm.
You are leaving a legacy. It's never too late. Whether you are 100 years old, you can still make a difference. You can still discover who you really are. Okay. So thank you, June. Please grab a copy of June's book. I'll put the link there. Discover yourself. That will be a helpful tool. And also, one of our mentors, Dr. Sandy Adelaja. Oh, June, yeah, show that book. Discover Yourself, a practical guide to helping teenagers live a purposeful life. Thank you. And another book we recommend is by Dr. Sandy Adelaja. It's called Who Am I? Why Am I Here? It's so relevant to this topic we're discussing now. Okay. And most of the principles we learned from him are the ones we are sharing anyway. So please go to Amazon and grab your copies of those two special books. Guess what? Now we've come to an end. June, you're right. I didn't think we'll make an hour. We'll come an end. So thank you for being with us, viewers. Hello, Bernard. Thanks for joining us. And the next time we come on board for the broadcast, we're going to continue this topic, discover yourself. But we're going to focus on what is it we're focusing on? Developing yourself. Right now, we touched understanding yourself, where you are right now, so that you can make changes. And now the next stage is how to develop yourself, become a better person. For example, we're going to talk about things like having visions, setting goals, okay? And then dealing with all those weaknesses and insecurities that we mentioned, how to deal with them and turning your weakness into strength. And that's how you'll be able to shine out and become the real you, who you are. Okay? So thank you for joining us, taking time to be with us this Saturday morning or anytime you are, wherever you are, part of the world. We hope to see you next week. Next week it will be my husband, so Sammy, he will come in to follow up with what we are discussing. The same topic, discover yourself. June, can you say the last words to our viewers before we leave?
Yeah, it's really been a pleasure to share with us. But I really would appreciate if you give us comments, because as you continue to ponder, you can still come back to the broadcast and put on your comments, because everyone who have shared something will get the points. But
Yeah.
all I can say, it is really high time we know who we are, because
Yeah.
when we really don't know who we are, life becomes an exercise of trial and error.
It
And
becomes
one
difficult.
thing, yeah, one thing we know, every second that goes, we cannot recover. I tell people it's hallelujah to celebrate a birthday, but remember, when you add a year to your life, you have deducted, 1 year, your balance. So
Yes.
make the most of what you have now, because time is life and it cannot
Yes.
be wasted.
All right. Thank you, June, for those wise words. And with that, viewers, we come to an end. So, bye. Have a nice week. Blessings. Bye.
Thank you.